Was Moses a good leader of the chosen people? Let's take a look at how Moses handled crisis situations. But why you should watch this film? I encourage you to explore lesser-known biblical stories or familiar stories from a lesser-known perspective. I do not impose any views or opinions. I simply present the biblical text truly and ask difficult questions. You can find more detailed information about my approach in the channel description. Let's move on to the story described in the book of Numbers, chapter 11. When the chosen people wander through the desert and begin to lament their fate.
The people were complaining in the ears of the Lord. When the Lord heard it, his anger burnt, and the Lord's fire burnt amongst them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. The people cried to Moses, and Moses prayed to the Lord, and the fire abated. The name of that place was called Taberah, because the Lord's fire burnt amongst them.
Are people's complaints about difficult living conditions a justifiable reason for God's anger? Is burning the tents and belongings an appropriate punishment in such a situation?
The mixed multitude that was amongst them lusted exceedingly. And the children of Israel also wept again and said,
"Who will give us meat to eat? We remember the fish, which we ate in Egypt for nothing, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now we have lost our appetite. There is nothing at all except this manna to look at."
The manna was like coriander seed, and it looked like bdellium. The people went around, gathered it, and ground it in mills, or beat it in mortars, and boiled it in pots, and made cakes of it. Its taste was like the taste of cakes baked with oil. When the dew fell on the camp in the night, the manna fell on it. Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families, every man at the door of his tent, and the Lord's anger burnt greatly, and Moses was displeased. Moses said to the Lord,
"Why have you treated your servant so badly? Why haven't I found favor in your sight, that you lay the burden of all this people on me? Have I conceived all this people? Have I brought them out? That you should tell me, carry them in your bosom, as a nurse carries a nursing infant, to the land which you swore to their fathers? Where could I get meat to give to all this people? For they weep to me, saying, 'Give us meat, that we may eat.' I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. If you treat me this way, please kill me right now, if I have found favor in your sight, and don't let me see my wretchedness."
Was Moses such a weak man that he gave up in such a situation? Was he God's right choice to lead the chosen people?
The Lord said to Moses,
"Gather to me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them to the tent of meeting, that they may stand there with you. I will come down and talk with you there. I will take of the Spirit which is on you, and will put it on them. And they shall bear the burden of the people with you, that you may not bear it yourself alone. Say to the people, 'Sanctify yourselves for tomorrow, and you will eat meat. For you have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, Who will give us meat to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you meat, and you will eat. You will not eat just 1 day, or 2 days, or 5 days, or 10 days, or 20 days, but a whole month, until it comes out at your nostrils, and it is loathsome to you, because you have rejected the Lord who is amongst you, and have wept before him, saying, Why did we come out of Egypt?"
How should we assess this response from God, who on the one hand responds to the request of his people, but at the same time threatens them? Can people's complaints about their difficult fate be considered a rejection of God?
Moses said,
"The people, amongst whom I am, are 600,000 men on foot. And you have said, I will give them meat, that they may eat a whole month. Shall flocks and herds be slaughtered for them, to be sufficient for them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them, to be sufficient for them?
Where do Moses' doubts come from, since he is dealing with an almighty God who has already demonstrated his power more than once?
The Lord said to Moses,
Has the Lord's hand grown short? Now you will see whether my word will happen to you or not.
Moses went out and told the people the Lord's words. And he gathered 70 men of the elders of the people and set them around the tent. The Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to him, and took of the Spirit that was on him, and put it on the 70 elders. When the Spirit rested on them, they prophesied, but they did so no more. A wind from the Lord went out, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp about a day's journey on this side, and a day's journey on the other side, around the camp, and about 2 cubits above the surface of the earth. The people rose up all that day, and all night, and all of the next day, and gathered the quails. He who gathered least gathered 10 homers, and they spread them all out for themselves around the camp. While the meat was still between their teeth, before it was chewed, the Lord's anger burnt against the people, and the Lord struck the people with a very great plague.
Where did God's anger come from in this situation, if he himself sent the quails? Did the punishment have to be so drastic?
The name of that place was called Kibroth Hattava, because there they buried the people who lusted. From Kibroth Hattava, the people traveled to Hazeroth, and they stayed at Hazeroth.
Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate your support.